Well, I figure we do a little sidebar here and just say I'm so grateful we could do this. Help a school out. We're painting the library right now. I am sweating so much. I think I might be covered in just as much paint across the other parts of me down here as sweat. Hey, so paint and sweat. Paint, sweat, and tears is what the theme of right now is, because I can't even really comprehend being here in Cambodia, helping out these kids in this school, small community school outside of Phnom Penh. So again, happy to be here. Thanks to Polly, myself, we got this nonprofit going as quickly as we could, and here we are. So cheers to this trip and to many, many more throughout the rest of the years. Cheers.
On this episode of Into the Lion's Den, we're going to be discussing Lachlan's most recent visit to Southeast Asia. We're going to be talking about why global work matters, what the importance of nonprofit organizations are, how they start, how to get them rolling, and why you get into it in the first place. We're talking about the warm-heartedness of philanthropic work and the challenges that are intermixed in all of that. Stick around, it's going to be a good one.
Welcome to the hunting ground, where business gets real. This is Into the Lion's Den, where we build smarter, lead harder, and protect what matters most. With your host, Christian Griffin. Let's get to work.
Welcome back to Into the Lion's Den with today's co-hosts, Mr. Lachlan Quintana, a.k.a. the World Traveler, a.k.a. the producer and the founder of a nonprofit. We're going to get more intimate with old Lockie boy over here over the course of the next couple of minutes. And, of course, myself, Christian, owner of Pride Roofing and Construction. This episode is brought to you by Pride Roofing and Construction and Level Creative Studios. I gave you a fart noise, but I wanted a meow. All right.
It's at least better than JD's roar.
Yeah, well, his sounded like a cat in heat, so I dig that one.
From that last episode,
we only got one squeak out, and he's like, all right, JD. So, all right, so we're back. Long trip. What is it, 3 weeks?
Yeah, just a little over 2 weeks. Yeah,
okay.
I think it was 15 days.
How many times have you been there?
This is my 5th time going over to Cambodia. Good old Southeast Asia. Hectic and crazy as always. Love it.
Probably a pretty interesting cultural shift, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, definitely something I'd love to highlight culturally. But yeah, other than that, let me give my intro as I've been trying to do. With the new formatting for the podcast, obviously we're shifting the stuff around in here. Obviously want to keep it fresh and sexy. Again, you guys told me to make roofing sexy, and that's why I'm here. But alas,
hammer me, baby.
Oh my God, no! No, it was like that billboard ad concept we had. It was hot shingles looking to get nailed.
Replace my shingles one more time. My loneliness. Yeah, just imagine how lonely your roof is. Most people are scared of it, so it never gets walked on.
Wow, that was an ad right there. Boom, golden. We'll take it.
All right. Anyways, let's get back to the real reason that we're here.
Fair.
So, Lachlan, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your trip, or however you want to introduce yourself. Obviously, you're not unfamiliar to people who actually watch our show. They hear you in the background telling me what I shouldn't say pretty regularly. He does a great job producing, so we want to give him a spotlight on something he cares about. So go ahead, take it away.
Yes, so that's me. I'm Lachlan. I'm the producer around here to make everybody look pretty. That's kind of nice.
It's pretty impossible.
Do not have a good...
It's pretty hard to put lipstick on a pig. But when you do, it's still a pig.
Hey, I did put it on Dave that one time, so it kind of worked out.
You put lipstick on Dave? I didn't hear this story.
He literally made this joke about putting lipstick on a pig. It's like, you can do it, try it with me.
What are you guys doing when I'm not here?
Nope.
No,
but...
I'm going to go consult the cameras later. But what timeline was this interaction with Dave and Lipstick? I'm just kidding.
I was sitting in the front.
Anyways, back to the real stuff. Sorry. I am a little all over the place. I didn't eat any food today. I poorly treated myself, so if I get spacey, just go like this a few times and we'll be back.
Snap it. Either way, I'm Lachlan. I am the creative guy around here. Again, and also doing more traveling around the world, as we've talked about in the past. The last time I sat in the podcast here with you, we talked about starting my nonprofit in the first place. Gosh, dang it.
Someone's calling.
It's the wife. Oh, no.
You better not.
But
you just give your wife that few button.
I did.
You sleep on the couch.
I hung it up. Whoops daisy. I am recording a podcast, though. So, alas. As I was saying, though, last time we talked about...
Guys, I'm not crying. I might cry later, but I'm not crying. I got an eyelash in my eye.
You're good.
We'll be all right.
We're going to have fun. I'm going to have a lot of fun.
Also, I noticed this morning that I didn't quite get all of the eyeliner off my eyes last night. My daughter and stepdaughter decided that I was going to be their test subject. So I walked into my first appointment this morning with, glitter-coated fingernails. I have a little bit of eyeliner and mascara still stuck in these, from what they called the most beautiful eyelashes of all time. They both told me, I wish I had your eyelashes. I was like, Sophia, you're 4. You don't even know what eyelashes are, really. So, but anyways, back to it. I'm not crying. I promise.
Well, I mean, I definitely cried on this trip at least once or twice, so...
Yeah.
Kind of works out. So, yes, again, I am back from my most recent trip. This is actually my 5th time going out there to Cambodia. This time, though, we were actually doing what I said I was going to do last time, which is actually getting my nonprofit officially started. It's called Outpost Community Foundation, and I'm very excited to be able to share with the world at least a little bit about how this trip went and the whole process of starting the nonprofit, as well as... like complications and things along the way, because it's starting a nonprofit is definitely not an easy thing to do by any means. But I am here to tell you, I might have an easy route for everyone. So keep listening.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start with the origin story, because not everybody's been a listener for all 50, however many episodes, and the 100 episodes we put out before we officially had a podcast.
Yeah, it's a lot of episodes.
So let's just start with Cambodia. What got you there the first time?
Yeah, so the first time I went to Cambodia, I actually went with Habitat for Humanity. It was a goodwill trip. Somebody said, hey, let's go do this crazy thing around the world, and I had never left the country before. So I was like, yes, let's fucking do it. Let's go. Because, I mean, I'd never been anywhere, and my parents were freaking out because they're over here like, it is the middle of nowhere, and you were going to die. I mean, you know, I think my dad was coming at it because he used to be in the Navy, coming at it from like a I know Vietnam type of perspective. And he had, I think, been to Vietnam, if I do recall properly. But, you know, from his contextual view, he knows what his dad told him about Vietnam back in the day. So yeah, the first time I went with Habitat. But on that trip, though, it really just changed everything about how I see the world as a whole. It was very nice to be able to do that, you know, having never been anywhere, you know, seeing this country that is so... It's just culturally different than what I had experienced as, you know, an American. It was drastically upsetting and just wonderful in all the right ways and in all the wrong ways. And so just back and forth. India was also pretty similar to that, but this was my first trip, period. So alas, you know, on the first night, I did get lost on purpose. I think I said that the last time. But that is kind of what just said, hey, you can do this and be fine. I didn't feel unsafe, uneasy by any means at all. I just was exploring and seeing the world. So honestly, this was one of the best places I've been told I could do that. A lot of people actually phrase Cambodia as the wild west of Southeast Asia. Okay. Just because it is kind of arid and dry during the dry season, especially, of course. But it's arid and dry, very much like the wild west, if you will. Dusty, you know. A lot of street vendors and stuff just trying to sell you food and clothes you don't need, stuff like that. But, you know, wild west. So you can kind of get away with a lot of things. On this trip, though, it's a very different time, all things considered, but I'll let you continue on.
So that's what got you the first time, but you've been back 5 times. So what has motivated that? Why does your heart keep pulling you that way?
Yeah, so the first time, again, the trip was so wonderful to be able to give back to somebody that hadn't, they had lost their house in a monsoon. So that was really, really nice. And I was able to go back to these locations and things and meet up and keep up with some of these people. So I made a really good friend on that first trip. His name's Polly. He's great. He's wonderful. He has a family over there. He's full Cambodian and everything like that. But he's been able to, I've been meeting him throughout the years that I've gone, almost 10 years now that I've been going to Cambodia, which is wild to think about. But across all these trips, I've been meeting with him and then meeting other friends and other people that I've just known throughout the entirety of networking around the world, which is a very different type of networking in regards to business and how we've kind of talk on the podcast here specifically. Sure. But I do recommend you still, hello, friend. I have never met you before. We're traveling. Hello. Great to meet you. This is my WhatsApp. This is my phone, whatever, the world travelers do. But each time I've gone, so second time, I think I took my wife, and then I took her again the third time, and I'm trying to think of which one it was. Shit. Whoopsie daisy, because I proposed on one of those ones. Oh yeah. So it's a big deal, super awesome thing. But that's not a thing I should have forgotten. So damn it. Let's cut this one.
That's all right. So so you had a life-changing experience the first time.
Yeah.
It sounds like you left a little bit of maybe your heart or maybe possibly your soul there, so it makes you feel a little bit more whole when you're reconnected with the place that was eye-opening, life-changing for you.
Yeah, I actually would go as far to say that it was almost like a spiritual center in its own way, if you will. So I go there, it kind of like revitalizes me a lot, which it's super weird because it shouldn't necessarily be that. Yeah. Because it's often, it's not exactly like a country that is smelling of clean air and everything like that. It's a dirtier country because it's a third world country. It's what it is. But I think again, it's some of the old culture of the construction that they've done throughout the years, throughout Angkor Wat, everything like that, and kind of just how it spills out through across Asian culture as a whole, with Buddhism and everything, and just the respect and the culture behind some of that is just wonderful to be around at all times. And here it's a little different. Obviously we have church and everything like that here, but they do it's just like temples, Buddhist temples, if you will. And then believe it or not, Cambodia is actually 50-50 Buddhist Christian.
Really?
So yeah, there's many Christians over there. It's kind of wild, but it's still a respect thing more than anything. Buddhism, do not quote me as a Buddhist specialist by any means. I do lean toward the ideals of Buddhism, but more because they just are leaning toward respect. Yeah. And respecting your fellow man and the world and nature and everything like that. Because I think that's what you should be doing.
They're about becoming one with the universe, right?
Yeah.
You can't really be one if you're at odds or in opposition or putting one above the other or
Correct.
So on and so forth, which I can appreciate those things.
Yeah. I think it shows through in the culture too, because there's a lot of things an example of the hotel I stay at, or at least one of them. I leave all my camera gear when I'm going out and exploring the city sometimes. Sometimes wearing it with, but I leave all my camera gear in the room, and they come and make up the room. They clean it, they make the beds, everything like that. And the first time that they did that, I freaked out because I was like, why are they not taking my camera gear? It's sitting on the table next to my bed, and they just don't do that. So I think the thing, though, is from what I've been told, is that they really don't think about stealing nearly as much unless they're psycho desperate. But they don't think about it because it's so against their ideals as a person, as a human, to not steal. They're like, well, if I steal, I'm gonna go to hell, basically.
Yeah.
Or just not be accepted into whatever the afterlife is. In their mind. Sure. Whether it's Christianity, Buddhist, or whatever the hell it is. It seems to be a pretty centric, be a good person type of country, which is really nice to see. Because I don't always see that here in the States, and that's what's frustrating about being here versus there. There's just the difference of, kindness that is spread.
There's kind of a common thought process that culture is downstream from religion.
Yeah.
And then politics are downstream from culture, right? So if the natural religion, or at least the way of belief of the entire population is this, where it's respect and honoring each other and becoming one with one another, and not, for lack of better terms, using each other, I guess. Obviously, downstream from that, the culture is going to be one that's inviting, one that is, just always on your side, right? So I think that's a pretty eye-opening revelation. I guess I wouldn't have expected that, but obviously, as somebody who's, an American who spent time here, the only real guidance I have towards cultures in other places, other than like the vacations I've taken to like a Mexico, but that's not even real Mexico. That's like tourist Mexico, right? So you're not even getting the real feel of it, but you get what you get from Hollywood, right? And they make it seem like, they're all a bunch of Aladdins stealing their bread, so because of the the systems and the caste systems and so on and so forth, right? So that's pretty cool. It's an eye-opening thing to see such a difference there. I catch that a lot from people that I know that spend a lot of time in different countries, people who travel regularly as if it's part of their soul. They're like, you'd just be really surprised at how different the world around you actually is in comparison to what you think that it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, so we learned why you keep going back. But what makes you, I guess, what's the motivation behind starting Outpost Community Foundation? Why are you, let's just say, jumping off the entrepreneurial cliff? Why are you that motivated? What's driving that?
Well, I think the thing about it was actually what I learned on one of my most recent trips. So not this last one, on my fourth trip, though. Mm-hmm. This most recent one was my fifth trip. For context. Mm-hmm. On the fourth trip, though, I went out there and stayed there for a month, so I was able to really, really touch base with the communities out there and some people in some areas, just blankety-blank, all these things. So I was actually able to go to the home of one of the people I built a house for on one of these trips. Mm-hmm. And the weirdest thing is that her life kind of just went to shit, really, to be honest with you. That's the worst part of it. Mm-hmm. She got divorced, she got cancer, so her house was kind of falling apart, if you will. I had built it, so it was still there, so it was still standing, so that's great. Mm-hmm. But, there were things that need to be repaired here and there, little things. Mm-hmm. The people that I had gone to build her house with originally, kind of had not really touched base with her in a long time. So that was really disappointing to see. Mm-hmm. So that's what really sparked me, because I was like, ooh, I don't like that. So how can I assist that? And then on that same trip, I also went to another community school and saw all of these kids that were so excited to learn English, because if they can get a job where they can speak English, they're going to be able to actually pay for things and actually have more of a career opportunity. Where if they only spoke Khmer, again, Khmer is a wonderful, culturally enriching language, but alas, if they're stuck to just Khmer, they're going to be stuck to Cambodia and very minimal types of job opportunities, considering it's a tourism country. So if they don't have people coming to the country, i.e. 2020, things ain't gonna look so good.
Sure. Sure. Well, yeah, it makes sense. You're basically confined to probably labor jobs. Yeah. Right. You're working for somebody. You're not expanding your reach. You can't communicate, so you can't drive yourself into a higher profiting position if you can't communicate. Correct. Right. You're just stuck working with your hands. Yeah. Right?
So again, I was working with those kids, kind of learning what they were kind of doing in that process of education. So it was like learning English was a big priority. This school had also started to integrate like agricultural type of teaching things. So they were able to show, like, I think they had a wall where they were growing like tomatoes and stuff. So it was just really nice to see that on the second visit, because obviously these kids in the school, it was a community school, so it's not like state sponsored or anything like that. It's a community. Like they had to literally cart in the teacher because he can't walk, but he's the only one that can teach English in that area. So he has to literally be like wheelchaired in each time
to teach. Say wheelbarrowed in.
Basically same idea, but he has to be wheeled in to teach these kids in the first place, and that's another process in itself, because somebody has to do it. Like it's a long little way. I mean, without communication or not communication, teleportation.
Severely disconnected, severely lacking in ability to get outside resources, severely diminished economically. Yeah. Okay. So what is Outpost Community Foundation?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah. So Outpost Community Foundation. So what Polly and I, so my friend Polly that I know from over there and have been working with on this project specifically, we really wanted to focus on education, health, and well-being as a whole. So well-being also including like structures around you. So your house, basically roof over your head. Again, you guys did teach me a few good things about roofs over your head, at least a few things. So we want to make sure that those things are what our organization was kind of working around specifically. So we'd start with a school, and what we picked was a school outside of the capital to start there. The idea is to be able to educate them on how they can keep their community healthy and clean. That's one way to start, as well as doing things for their environment as well. So that's keeping a steady roof over your head, making sure the environment's clean and protected in regards to like the walls, because they also have like security issues around certain locations and everything like that. And then ensuring that the location is something they want to be a part of and be inside of, i.e. What we did on this trip is we painted a library because we want to make sure that we're supporting that education of those kids being able to learn and be able to read books and understand what you can get from books. The point of knowledge is what's so important here, is that it needs to be accessible, and we wanted to be able to paint that building so that they would be like, ooh, yes, pretty building, let's go inside and actually learn and actually try. These kids were so excited to see us when we went and be there and paint. I didn't even think this was going to happen, but they even painted with us, which was crazy. Nice. But yeah, that's the idea of why we're doing what we're doing, is to really be able to get that down to a system. So this trip was specifically to start this process of this nonprofit. This was like the pilot trip, if you will, where we're able to see what went well, what we can improve upon in the next trip. So next year, we'll get there in a second.
So let's just fast forward the clocks with the hands on the clock for a little bit. 10 years forward. How do you want to be serving the community? Like, where do you see yourself?
10 years is a little wild, but realistically, I do fully intend to have shifted into other countries surrounding the area as well. So that is one of the growth ideas that I do have. Granted, I do want to start with the simple things, of course, which is obviously paying our staff as best we can over there specifically, because they're the ones that are going to be doing most of the project coordinating, just to ensure that we're able to actually do the projects that we're going to be doing, whether it's painting a school, whether it's building a new school, building a laboratory at the school, whatever the project may be. The idea is to expand and continue to support, because that was the biggest thing, again, from that trip that I did and went to that old house, was the lack of continuous support. I know that they can still support, but I think there's a point where it peters off.
So if I'm capturing what you're saying correctly, it sounds like you will be working towards acquiring the right networks for funding as well as for labor resourcing, essentially. So bringing people in with the same thought process to come in and do these humanitarian efforts within the school and expand to surrounding areas. So you're essentially trying to draw attention to the underserved area, bring in funding and people, and correct it. Yeah,
basically. So that's kind of the idea. And the idea is to also have it be worked primarily by Cambodians, at least starting with this country, of course, because this is where it's all founded.
Sure.
The idea is to have it be self-serving, not just us coming in and being like, here's money, and just throwing it at the problem. Right. That's not the idea. Us, like me being on this trip this 5th time, and doing the nonprofit officially now, I didn't do nearly as much camera work as I would have liked to, simply because I was like, well, shit, I have to actually do this nonprofit, as a nonprofit guy. Like, I have to be doing the job. I felt weird when I didn't have gloves on painting. It felt weird. Yeah. And then I did take them off every so often to take a picture here and there, but I felt weird not working. Like, I just had to be working. Like, I needed that.
Well, you have the ownership perspective. That's it, right? So you got to make sure that the goal is attained. Whatever course that is.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
Whether it's elbow grease and sweat, or is it being an incredible delegator and leader? One or the could be all of them. But okay. So we understand now what Outpost Community Foundation is, how it originated, how the thought process started. Let's talk about the nonprofit in general. So you said you have ideas on how to, it's a daunting task.
Yeah.
And how do you speed through it, or how do you do it efficiently so that it becomes less daunting and more people want to jump into that space?
Yeah. So the most interesting thing is I didn't think I would even ever think of starting a nonprofit because I've worked with many nonprofits through the years. Mm-hmm. I've loved working with all of them. They're all great. Mm-hmm. But I do know some of the minutia that the difficulties mm-hmm. of what a nonprofit can have to go through. Mm-hmm. So I was worried, and I was like, oh no, I guess I'm doing this. But mm-hmm. then I really, really just dialed it down to how can I start this nonprofit? So I asked ChatGPT. I was like, yo, what's the process? What's the steps? How do we get going? Blah, blah, blah. So basically it said, go to the government website, to go to this link and check it out, and then get the instructions, follow those instructions. So I was like, cool. Okay, so here's what we want to do, blah, 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 blah. Input those instructions back into ChatGPT and said, what steps do I need to follow? Did exactly that, and then here's the craziest part: is we submitted our paperwork finally fully to the government officially, like the IRS, all that, and they said between our nonprofit will be approved within 3 months to a year, and I was like, all right, fine. So I was expecting to go on this trip and still be waiting on that process to be done, because that's why it's still like a pilot program, still trying to figure out everything, make sure it's all ducks in a row accordingly, but. Then a month in, after we had submitted that paperwork, they're like, hey, you're approved. I just followed the steps and the list that ChatGPT gave me to get that approved. Literally, you just checked every box. You're like, done, 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 and done.
Nice.
So,
all right. So AI-powered nonprofit generation here.
Basically, nice. And I don't even want to say that that's a bad thing.
Well, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that the reason for AI is accelerated computing.
Yeah.
Right? It's to get to your solutions faster so that you can find things further out of reach from people who didn't have that in their grasp before. You can take the world's information and condense it into prompts and questions and teach yourself anything. It's a pretty powerful tool.
I agree.
I think there's some things, we talked about AI and the fears that I have towards it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think getting prompts to be told exactly how to accomplish a goal, but you still have to accomplish a goal. You did it, right? You did it.
Yep.
ChatGPT can't fill that stuff out for you. It can't go out and do these things. So congratulations. So I guess the shortcut is implement some AI into your R&D phase of building your nonprofit and execute.
Yeah. I had a few people reach out and they're like, how did you do that? I was like, guys, I don't want to tell you because it was really easy. And I think this podcast is the time to come out and say, yes, ChatGPT helped me build this nonprofit. And I don't want to say that's a bad thing anymore. So
not to diminish anybody's experience and stuff like that, but theoretically, ChatGPT can build you a professional website in 15 minutes, right? You just have to give it the right information. Yeah. So it's why not use it? Why not accelerate your growth?
Yeah.
So that's cool. Okay, so you start a nonprofit. So there's a series of government documents getting. It's not an EIN number if it's not a regular business. It's some kind of.
Yeah, I forget the exact form names and everything off the top of my head. I'd have to
501c3.
Oh, it is a
tax code. And
it is a 501c3
that.
Specifically. Yeah. I didn't know what question you were asking, but
sure.
Yeah.
So, but you got to fill out all the documentation for that. You have to be probably background checked. I'm assuming.
Background check, no. But we did have to form a board. Forming the board was a tough thing because obviously you don't want to just find some guy on the street and be like, hey, what's up, man? You're part of the board.
Yeah, right.
Nah, that'd be kind of weird. So I did have to find, and I think I did do a pretty good job of forming my board. Maybe there's some issues with some biases, considering my brother and my wife are on the board. Granted, that's not really unheard of by any means. It's a family-run organization, if you will.
Sure.
And I love that.
Potentially difficult Thanksgiving dinners and awkward conversations.
Potentially. My brother did fall asleep on this trip a lot, which pissed me off to no end, but he was there, and we did a great time. Had a great trip. So it's all
funny
matters.
How that works is like when you're the leader of the pack, and there's other people who are underneath the yoke. If they're not pulling their weight, it gets pretty frustrating.
Yeah, I was just like, man, come on, I just want to go do things. He's like, I want to sleep. Like, dude, I know the hotel's
when
cozy.
we get home.
I know. That's why I was like, killing me.
Okay. So, let me ask a question about the board, creating the board. So, I'm assuming that's like a checks and balance system. Yeah, it's like it can't be like this nonprofit is owned by one person, because then information is isolated and there's less transparency to funding and stuff like that. I'm assuming. Yeah.
So basically, the board needs to oversee everything and technically approve everything. So like even when we did the finalized budget for the project itself, we had to submit that to the board as a full thing via the not secretary, the treasurer, which is my wife. So she submitted it to the board, and they're like, "Yep, that looks good to go, approved." And I mean, I can do the final approvals, of course, but they reviewed it and said, "Yes, this is all good, and we like this." Because again, I needed to make sure that we're forming the organization in a way that is repeatable. So I don't want to just be able to do this one time and then be like, all right, we're done now, going home. No, by no means. I want to make sure that it's a system that we can continue to do onward every time. So building that board and working with the board to get that project funded and approved was all funded by me, but alas, they said yes, because I was like, cool. We actually came in under budget this year, so it was really nice. But again, I did pick my board pretty nicely. I picked my wife, who is in accounting and stuff, so she's the treasurer, makes some sense. My brother does college research at Brown, and so I was like, you know what, I think we can probably utilize some of your research abilities in that regard as well. One of my friends, he is a Marine. Well, he's not serving right now, but alas, you get the point. He's a Marine at all times, as they say. So I figured he'd be a good person to have on as a security advisor. Everyone traveling will need a security advisor in some regard, just to make sure that they know what the hell's going on in certain countries. Sure. Granted, Cambodia did have some issues recently with the ties, back and forth. It's a petty fight. They're just fighting over land and a border, and they're like, I want it. No, I want it. They're just, it's a tug of war type of issue. Yeah. Well, so that's going on.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, so. Basically. So the only thing, though, and this is probably why I prefer Cambodia over most countries, is there's like, man, can we just be peaceful? Let's just stop fighting.
Peace.
Every single Cambodian is like, guys, let's just peace, calm down, let's stop fighting.
I like that. I need that in my life. Things are super fast paced.
Yeah.
In my life, so.
And then I have another associate on the board as well. She also does. She is a producer at a television station in New Mexico. So I figured she would be a good person to have on for promotion and marketing support as well.
That's cool. So okay. I guess now I asked you the 10-year forecast. Yeah. We're starting to understand what the vision is and where you want to go and how you're going to drive it there.
Yeah.
But what are your plans for over the next year? What's 2025 and 2026 looks like?
Yeah, so 2025 to 2026 is kind of going to be a wild year because we are trying to plan the next trip, obviously. We're very excited to do that. Again, I think this last trip went overwhelmingly fantastic. In regards to the nonprofit starting and the functionality. So we were able to see and understand what's working, what's not, and how we can improve for the next trip. So what was really great is we actually got a lot of interest, and I didn't even think this would happen, but Polly had a friend in Japan, and he was like, hey, here's something we're doing. He kind of teased it a little bit here and there. And then she ended up getting a whole group of people to come over and help on the trip. So she brought 3 people. She knew 2 Cambodians that weren't even attached to Polly. And she's like, you guys want to come help? They're like, yeah, let's go do this. I'd love to support my community. Yeah. So they came out and did that. And she came out herself and she helped pack all the bags and everything for because we gave the kids some notebooks and some pencils and some soap. So they're able to, do all those things that we're trying to educate them on.
Sure.
She was awesome, but now because the trip went as awesomely as it did, she now wants to bring more people over from Japan. I'm like, this is so cool. Yeah. It's actually an international nonprofit now, more officially than not, just because we have partners from other countries joining in to this other country nonprofit. It's just this. Yeah, blows my mind. I'm so excited.
People helping people.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, there are, there's a very small percentage of people who are like in that that narcissist don't care about anybody but myself position.
Yeah.
But 99.9% of the world truly does care about what happens tomorrow. What can I do today that's going to make tomorrow better? What can I do for people that's going to make their lives better tomorrow? And so, input and spending time gives you not only that warm glow, but it does have a lasting impact, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool. Congratulations, international superstar over here. Pretty cool.
That's right.
So, well, okay. So let's just bring it back to you for a little bit. What does global travel teach you about local responsibility? Like what can you learn there that you can bring back here, so it's not just isolated to the times that you get to be there and so on and so forth? Like what can you bring back with you to make this world, the Northern Colorado community, better?
Well, I actually think it's actually coming back in a few different ways, in the sense that I'm actually able to, me organizing the nonprofit obviously is its own beast, its own thing, its own battle in itself. But I do think it's actually allowing me to understand structures and systems of how I'm working here and how I need to be an efficient manager and how I can, kind of help marketing and creative be pushed forward and be actually contributing to the organization as a whole. So it's really nice to be able to kind of think like that and with this different, true leadership hat now put on me as a board president, as the founder of this nonprofit, as the leader of my company, and it just kind of ties it all together and says, hey, you can actually do this, so do it.
Sure.
Which is really great. But it also came back in full too of me getting more involved with the film community that I kind of fell off of over the last 10 years as well. So that's been really, really nice because I'm like, hey, I'm starting this nonprofit. They're like, ooh, that's so cool. And then everyone already wants to talk to you just about your nonprofit. I'm like, but also movies are fun. We should talk about how we can make cool movies. And they're like, oh, do you make films and stuff? I was like, no, but I do a podcast. They're like, that counts. You're cool. Great. Come on in. So I'm getting more involved locally just because of that. So it kind of really just brought me out of my shell, I think, because I think I was hiding under the shell since 2020, which, I mean, a lot of us are still to this day, I'm sure. Yeah. But it definitely happened.
Forced us all into a shell.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It was like I didn't want to do jack shit. The entirety of that.
On and shut up, Lachlan.
Yeah, pretty much. But that's how it felt. That's exactly how it felt.
Muzzle up, dog. Yeah. So
I didn't want that, but no. I think that's how it's kind of coming full circle.
Through, you're about to walk out this den into the actual savannah.
I don't know what I'm putting back there this time. We'll see. We'll see though.
Yeah. So, well, that's cool. So, actually, the thing that sparked my interest the most was when you talked about your impact here. Now, obviously, I like everything that you said. I'm not demeaning it, and I'm definitely not trying to be narcissistic by bringing it back to pride. But I did want to kind of catch that and talk about it a little bit. So you said that you have, because you've sat in a leadership position, you are understanding that you, have to be more efficient with your time. I'm assuming that has something to do with, if I want to give real dedicated time to this, I have to make sure that my time is spent efficiently and I can reduce how much time is necessary to do my job here. Yeah. And in order to be efficient and compound my efforts, I have to understand the inner workings of the organization and have put real leverage where I can on the marketing and advertising section of this business. So what have you done so far that you think is that shift? What are things that you're really proud of where you're like, okay, now because I came back and I have this different mindset, here's what I'm going to do with these things, and here's how I'm going to draw back my own time so I can spend it on what I want to do with my, I guess I use philanthropic, but it's more humanitarian endeavors moving forward.
So I think honestly, it's kind of one of these things where it says more in the context of like how doing the nonprofit and everything has contributed to my job here, right? More than anything, right? That's where we're at. Cool. Just clarify. Had to be sure. So I think realistically, the biggest thing that I've learned and have been able to kind of garner here, starting this nonprofit, is that I need to communicate out the ass with everyone at all times. And that's the biggest thing. Obviously, this is still, we're early in this nonprofit process, but I'm learning more and more and more now that I have to always have board meetings. I need to make sure that we document the notes. I need to make sure those are submitted. Those need to go to the right places. I need to make sure that the same thing happens here now at Pride. Now that I'm doing some more of the marketing creative as a whole, I'm doing my KPI reports and everything like that weekly and everything like that. It's really tough, been a little tougher being the holiday season right now. So I'm going to definitely not do my Cambodia trip right around the holiday season next time because difficult timing. Just no, we're not going to do that.
Okay, so you learned something. Good.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
learn something there. Water Festival is great time to go to Cambodia, but maybe not next year. So we'll see.
Why not next year?
The Water Festival was the time that I went this year, so it's just
gotcha.
the timing of the season more than anything.
Okay.
Start of the dry season officially.
Oh,
so.
okay, so the monsoons are over.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
What a weird thing. It jumps from monsoons to like a desert. So
Basically, well, it's also it's the largest lake over here. I don't remember exactly. Yes, the Tonle Sap here. It's like the largest freshwater lake in Southeast Asia.
yeah.
It's really cool, but it also goes from this big to this big to this big to this big. It constantly grows and shrinks every season just because of how much rain they get versus how much dries out.
Interesting.
So it's very interesting. Sorry.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Well, I caught a couple of good things in your response there. So communication is key. Actually, I spent 2 hours this morning with the sales team, basically enforcing the idea of, I guess, the importance of over communication, right? Generally, people, if left to their own devices, aka idle time, you have not communicated with them in a time that's reasonable or expected, then they're going to start to input their perspectives, right? And generally their perspective becomes your reality because now they're judging you based off of the scale that you've created that you could have avoided because you didn't communicate, right? But I have noticed that from your work in here, the KPI stuff, you're taking it seriously, you're reporting it quickly, and I know sometimes reporting KPIs to most people kind of feels like you're like a barn cat bringing like a dead mouse up to the front, like, yeah, look, I deserve to live in this barn because I killed a cat today, but it's not. It really is like, let's see the metrics in front of us and let's find out where are we trending down, where are we trending up, where do we turn the dial up, where do we turn the dial down, and how do we effectively place the money so that the time you're spending becomes compounded, the effect becomes compounded. So,
Of course.
but I have noticed that, which is awesome. But yeah, and there's we use a lot of different, like we do things internally, but we also utilize vendors for a lot of different things. And there has to be constant communication so that there's not 3 individual silos working on, sometimes maybe it's doubled efforts. Maybe they're doing the same thing, right? When we could place it one place else and then you get all the time back. Or maybe, there's some a change in what vision we're trying to cast so that, one marketing effort is focused on one thing while the other one's focused on another. And generally, they're supposed to be compounding each other. Like, you're supposed to be omnipresent online. And if your pitch and your personality that the community sees in this one area is different than what it is here, even if it's subconsciously, it's going to change the way people receive the information that they're seeing from you. So there has to be uniformity, and that can only come from constant communication, constant contact.
Yep,
So,
absolutely. And it's been one of the struggles that I've been having with the nonprofit. I wouldn't say a struggle necessarily really at all, but I have to, it's the process of learning to let go and let other people do things.
that'll never go away.
No, I know, but like an example of some of the video content that I need to be making for Pride versus for the nonprofit, I said, hello, my media person that I brought in, you're going to edit because I don't have the time. Not because I don't want to edit. I really would love to edit. But alas, I don't have the time, and I also want to involve my team. So like, I don't want to just be the only one doing all this stuff. I want to be able to give something to my team and say, hey, here's something for us to work on, and let's make something awesome.
Sure.
So, that just giving up the control, sometimes is the answer to getting more control, which is so hilarious, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things are really counterintuitive, but end up being the truth, right?
Yeah.
Giving up control will allow you to control more of your destination as the owner of something. You give up more of your control on the small stuff, it'll help you to guide the ship towards the correct course.
Correct.
Right? So you have control on the destination, maybe not on the inner workings. That's a difficult it's a difficult task. I can tell you I still have not firmly let go of the wheel. I mean, we got about 57 wheels, that's a made-up number. It's a lot of wheels. And I don't have 57 arms. I don't have 8 arms. I'm not an octopus. So I need to stop, letting my need to perfect things and only trusting myself run the course. I have to trust people and trust my leadership and my training with those people to assume that they're going to get to the same place I wanted to, and where that course correction is going to be there for the ship. Right?
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, that's really good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just talk about. I think it's time to somewhat wrap up. Maybe turn it down a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Let's put a shout out or plug for you. How can people get involved with what you're doing?
Well, for Outpost Community Foundation, they can actually just check out outpostcommunityfoundation.com. I know it is a mouthful. We are working on it. I wish we could do some cool
OCF.
acronym. Yeah, like some cool acronym like SHIELD did, the whole Strategic Homeland Invasion Enforcement and Logistics Division. How the hell do I remember that? What am I?
Because you're a Marvel nerd, that's why, yeah.
I haven't even watched Iron Man 1 where they say that the one time in so long.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What's the agent's name?
Coulson.
Coulson, that's right.
Phil Coulson.
He dies.
Yes, he does.
I can't
die
remember
in
which
Avengers.
movie he
But
does.
technically he didn't die
It's
because he was
in-game,
brought back to
right?
life.
Is it in-game?
No, he died in Avengers, just Avengers.
Really?
The first one, yeah.
Oh.
But he was brought back to life and went to Tahiti.
Yeah.
So it's all.
Anyways, we'll get off our Marvel track for a second. Let's get back to getting involved with OCF, Outpost Community Foundation.
Yes, Outpost Community Foundation. So you just go to our website. We're actually working on it right now to build it out. Obviously, we wanted this trip to be able to fuel some of that content that we're putting on the website, kind of understand exactly how we want to be marketing out to the world. But if you go to that website, you can actually donate on it right now. That was one of the first priorities. I was like, you know what? If the site's up, it needs to be able to be donated to. So that was the most difficult process. But since we got approved for our nonprofit so quickly, you can actually just do that on our website now.
Okay.
So just go to the website and hit donate and give us all your money. Check after check after check. Por favor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't get too crazy with that because they'll think you're for serious. But that is the downfall. There have been some really greedy people in the world who've created non-profits, and just so happens to be that 99% of what you're donating does not go towards what you actually donated it for. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one, I don't expect to be paid until my staff in Cambodia is paid. That is my mindset about any of the money going to anyone that's not the nonprofit itself. But because those people that are those are the people that are actually starting the project and making sure that it goes through to final completion. Like if we didn't have Polly working our project, because he was able to get us so much funding savings because he's buying as a Cambodian. If I walked into that place to buy paint as a white boy over there, they would have been like,
$200.
they would have been like, okay, this is going to be a lot more expensive now. I'm like, guys, even if I was fluent, they would still probably be like, I don't know, man. I'm fully serious. And that's just, the kind of the cultural exchange type of deal.
Doesn't sound like they respect white people.
That's not the case at all.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm just messing around. But you were talking about the culture as a whole, and it's there's no theft, but that seems to be kind of thievery.
In its own way on occasion. I mean, you did get the tuk-tuk driver that's like, oh, yeah.
But it's not to say that that's not any different anywhere else. It's like I never send my wife to go buy new tires.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're going to sell her not only tires, but the best tires on the planet, and they're going to convince her that
Yeah.
the rotors need to be replaced, the brakes need to be replaced. In fact, you just need to replace the whole car, and here's your price for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people take advantage of people.
Yeah, I was really sad. I sent Sarah to go get the tires changed one time because we needed a new. It was flat, and I was like, okay, we need to go get new tires. So I sent her in. She got it fixed, and I was like, was there a nail in the tire? And she's like, oh, yeah, there was. And I was like, did they keep it so I could tell if it was one of our roofing nails? They didn't keep it. I just was like, you could have told them to keep it. I would have been able to know.
That's funny.
Then,
It's trying to find an origin. Yeah. But anyways, that makes sense. So Okay, so we were talking about funding,
Yeah.
proper handling of funds,
Mm-hmm.
right? So people can donate.
Yep.
Can they go on your trips?
Yes. So that's actually the next thing that I definitely wanted to talk about. I definitely want to get as many people involved in the next trip as possible. The greatest thing, and I know it's going to sound like a lot of money to some people, and that's to each their own. It is what it is. The budget for a single person to go on one of these trips, including flight, is about $3,000, and that's on the high end. If you want to spend any more than that, then you're just living like a bougie king.
So 15 days.
Give or
usually,
take.
Give or take, about 2 weeks, $3,000.
Yeah.
Life-changing experience.
Yeah, and we also, if we get more people going, we actually might be able to work with some of the hotels, hopefully get like some
Group
room rates
rates,
going, stuff like
corporate
that.
rates, yeah.
That would be wonderful. But obviously, we need people to sign up and come and actually go on the trips and contribute to the projects that we're working on. The nice thing about the trips too, we're not just having you go out there and just pick up a hammer and just do shit. No, we're gonna show you around town. We're gonna teach you about the culture, teach you about the environment, all the stuff that is
So
Cambodia.
you're going to give them a why before they start acting.
Basically, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, or vice versa. It kind of depends on how we get the trip going, but the idea is to intersplice and intermingle as much cultural experience as we can. Obviously, we'll go to Angkor Wat because it's just the eighth wonder of the world. So you got to go check that out. It's like one of the, I think, largest religious land sites in the world, which is just awesome.
Yeah.
And it's all built by like volcanic rock and stuff, floated down by the river, and elephants and a whole bunch of ancient stuff.
Ancient aliens.
Ancient
probably.
alien stuff.
Just like
Aliens.
Just like the pyramids. Yeah. Just kidding.
Aliens.
Internal resonance and gold and electricity production and yeah. Just kidding. I love hearing about all the theories about the pyramids.
I'm always down for that too, and I think they're all connected in some
frankly,
way.
I think it's absolutely bonkers that they have found out how far down the pillars actually go into the ground.
The pyramids?
Read or hear anything about
I
this?
have.
It's nuts. It's like a football field underground. But
Well, I think the craziest thing too is that most of those ancient temples, a lot of people are just like, how do they even do this?
our machines right now can't make this.
Exactly. So yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But that's the idea, though, is to get people to experience the culture. They'd actually be coming. So we would fly in right about here to the capital, and then it's actually like a 5 to 8 hour ish bus ride over here to Siem Reap. Depends on if you're in a bus or a van, so it makes the difference. But you'll go all the way over here, and this is where Angkor Wat is, and that's where you really get to just experience. We did a different thing this time too, is we didn't do a tour guide to walk us through it because I was like, it's the 5th time. I don't need a tour guide anymore. I can tour my own people. So my brother and I just kind of wandered. Honestly, it was a really nice. A tour guide is also great if you've never been, but it was really nice just to wander and explore a little bit more freely and just be like, ooh, I didn't get this picture last time. Here and there, So that was really nice. But again, always nice to see the
About
cultural.
Christmas time, you just got me in my brain about it was Grinch.
Oh, I missed it. I'm so sorry.
Ooh,
You
that's
did-
it. I'm not going.
You do that one a lot. You like the Grinch.
I love the Grinch.
I don't even blame you. He's great. Jim Carrey Grinch, especially.
Okay, so we talked about donating, volunteering, upcoming projects, partnering with Outposts in some way. Okay, so let's close it out. I'll ask you one last question. What's one thing the world should know about the work you're doing, and one thing they should know about the human behind it?
Well, I think that's really tough to get down to one thing, and I'm working on that. Again, starting a nonprofit, you kind of got to work that.
Give me that vision statement, bro.
Yes, it's the toughest part.
Yeah.
But really, I want to make sure that people know that giving back is okay, and that you can do it fiscally responsibly, in the sense of you don't need to go on this $20,000 trip around the world to build a home in blankety blank country in a war zone or whatever and be unsafe. You can go to a place like this that is a third world country that is not psycho unsafe and actually get some culturally enriching experiences out of it, as well as contributing to the community around there. I think that's what's really nice. It's in my opinion, a pretty even trade-off. So enrich yourself culturally, I think is really the biggest thing. And I think the one thing that I did get from Cambodia that I'd like to continue onward of, anytime I hear from another culture, I just want to take it all in. I just love it all. No matter what it is, unless it's something I've already heard about 20 times. So
You've become a wanderer.
something new. Yeah.
Your spirit is everywhere, not just here.
I agree with that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah.
any last thoughts?
No, yeah, that's pretty good for the most part. I do want to see you guys maybe make an attempt to come out, whenever we decide to go for the next trip. But
Lachlan has asked me, I think, 2 years in a row,
Yep.
and I've unfortunately not
Each
gone. I get pretty tied to this place at certain times of the year, so if it matches up with timing,
I feel like
I'll make a trip.
January might be the day. Might be the time. It's hard to say. So
January and February are the easiest times of the year for me to go anywhere.
Yep.
The rest of the time I'm pretty much handcuffed to as close to my desk as I can be.
Nope, I completely get you. So yeah, we'll see what we can do. Hopefully get you over there. But thanks for having me. Thank you for letting me show you. Oh, well, I was going to show you two more things. So they gave me this little plaque thanking Outpost Community Foundation. It's a wonderful
that's
time.
cool.
I'll hand that over to you.
I can't read any of it because I don't speak.
I know.
What is it called?
Khmer.
Khmer. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. So I cried when they gave that to me because I was like, I didn't expect them to give me anything.
Official AF. This thing's cool.
I know. I loved it. So that was really nice to be able to get that.
Professional.
And then
official AF.
Official AF. And this one is just a cool one I brought. That is some bats that are actually in Cambodia. So those guys are actually over there.
It's a pipistrel.
They aren't going to bite you. They aren't the vampire bats.
Fire bat.
Yeah.
What? And this is a pipistrel.
A pipstrel. But I picked those up and
bats are gross.
I love them.
Mice. That's cool.
But it's really nice
cool.
because you can see them and hear them at night sometimes when you're over there.
Yeah.
And
when I was a kid,
hit ya.
my best friend's neighbor had a lot of bats for some reason in his big cottonwood trees. So at night we'd put lacrosse balls in gigantic tube socks. You just tie the ball in so it doesn't fall out.
Okay.
Whip it up into the air and try to smack them. I don't think we ever actually hit one bat, but it filled a lot of evening hours for us.
I mean, kids. I get it. They don't belong in every place and every location, of course. But these guys over here, they're living in big, giant, tall trees, so they're not even bothering you. Mm-hmm. They don't even care about you anyway. They go for the bugs for the most part. So,
Great Outdoors, John Candy.
I have not seen that one. No.
Dan Aykroyd.
No, I've not.
Watch the bat scene. You will not.
Oh no.
You definitely will not regret it.
Okay, fair.
It's hilarious.
Fair enough. Well.
So, anyways, all right. So these are really cool.
Cool.
This is cool. Thanks for bringing this in.
Yeah.
You even brought in a nice little lion.
Yeah, little
fits in.
Angkor Wat, and then a little lion for Christian over there. So
That's cool.
Went all around.
Oh, you brought this for me?
Well, no, that one's mine.
I was like, damn, dude.
That one's mine.
I was like, don't be.
But I figured
I'd
put the lion for you.
Don't be buying presents. Give it to the kids. You know what I mean? But thanks for bringing all this stuff in. So that's it for this episode of Into the Lion's Den. If you would like to help Lachlan out on his humanitarian efforts, you can go to outpostcommunityfoundation.com. Definitely encourage them to make a cool acronym like SHIELD, make it easier to come
work on it.
You can donate, you can volunteer, you join the upcoming projects, and I think this is a good episode for us to kind of sit back and do a little self-analysis after you've listened to it. Are you really opening up your mind to understanding the world around you? Or are you too focused on what's at hand? There's a lot of people who need a lot of things, and we in America, just by being born here, are incredibly blessed. So take that blessing, understand it, love your family, love your friends, but if you have the ability to do something, go do it. That's the mission. Yeah, I 1,000% agree. So, that's the thing. And again, $3,000 ain't that much, guys. So come join us on this Cambodia trip next time. We'll talk about it. You can figure it out. Actually, I'll put a little tidbit in there. So $3,000 to go change your life is a very small price to pay. In one of my sales jobs. It's not just change your life, though. You're impacting somebody else as well. I know. So that's the nice thing. That's that was that, what was it? The altruism equation. I brought that up on here. Is there really a true, fully selfless act that anybody can do in the world? And actually, I don't feel that there actually is, unless you truly sacrifice yourself, i.e. die because of it, because you're not going to feel the warm feeling, the warm glow. I think Jesus won that one. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Anyways, I don't know why I got lost on that tangent. So I'll tell you the small story before we go anywhere. Yep. In one of my jobs, we were instructed to do what was called the coffee close. Have we talked about the coffee close before? I don't think we have. Or maybe just in passing. Okay, so this was in relation to gym memberships and personal training sales at this time in my life back in, far and galaxy far, far away when all that happened, right? We talked about the coffee close. So when somebody really, really wanted to get involved with a training program, they wanted to change their life, they didn't know how to do it themselves, they needed guidance, so on and so forth, but they didn't want to pay for it because they didn't have any money, quote unquote. They're like, okay, let's talk about your coffee habits. Right.
Oh, dear God. Don't even get me started on that one.
So, and we would use coffee, fast food, and eating out, all three of them, but we called it the coffee clothes. So we'd write it down on there and we say, okay, in a week's time, how many times do you go to Starbucks? And like, what's your drink of choice? And they're like, or Dutch Bros or whatever, right? Tell me what you're not making at home and you're purposely going to spend the money. And they're like, okay, but I go there 4 times a week. If they don't have coffee, or 3 times a week or whatever, they don't coffee, do you drink energy drinks? You probably do. How much do they cost? How many times a week, right? Yeah, I know. I'm guilty, right? I know I can afford the $3,000 trip. That's what I'm getting at here, right? Guilty as charged, right? But anyways, we'd have them write that down. And they're like, okay, so how often do you eat fast food? Because fast food is completely counter to what your goal is here. You cannot eat fast food if you ever want to reach these goals. And if you do, it has to be very few and far in between, right? So like, okay, let's write down how many times you go to the fast food. Like I go 3 times a week or whatever. And you're like, how much does it cost on average? You write it all down, right? And then you do the same thing with eating out, right? And it's like, I know you and the family want to eat out. Those are times. Breaking bread is like a religious thing. It's definitely something where you should enjoy that every once in a while, blah, 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 blah. So let's reduce it from 2 to 1, right? And then we look at the cost savings in a week. And you amortize that. You spread it across 52 weeks, and you look at that total. You would be absolutely baffled by how much money people are spending on a yearly basis when you actually run it across a 350, how many days are there in a year? 365.
65,
365
yes.
days.
I wanted to say 56.
Or 52. I was blending weeks and then days.
Yeah.
But 52 weeks, you look at it and you're like, holy crap, I'm spending $10,000 on coffee and fast food, right? And they're like, yeah, give me the training. I'll stop eating. I'll take out 2 drinks and I'll take out 1 trip to whatever, right? So I'm saying all of this because it is absolutely possible to make these things happen if you choose that it's important enough to do so.
Yeah.
Right? So cut out some coffee. Cut out some.
I'm not doing that.
Your little convenience store snacks. Cut out a little bit of fast food, and I guarantee you can go and change your life and change the life of those kids in Cambodia with Outpost Community Foundation.
Yes.
So coffee closed your asses. That's it for today. We'll catch you next week. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Into the Lion's Den.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Into the Lion's Den. We appreciate your time, and we hope that you've gathered enough ammunition to go out, fight the good fight, and become a better person every single day. Please like and subscribe, engage in our content, ask us some questions. We'd love to tailor fit the next episode to you.